Count money, man. Stack riches. Try and told him I'm a beast blood.
What's up, gang? Welcome back to another episode of the GRINDcast. Get ready, it's a new day. And I got my man, my friend, my brother, Trey Edmunds in the house. What's up, Trey?
What's up, boss, man?
Thanks for being on the GRINDcast.
Thanks for having me.
Man, you guys are in for a special treat today, man. Not only is, I don't know if this is even going on right now, but the Edmunds brothers, there's 3 of y'all in the NFL right now at one time. Is that the only... Is there any other brothers like that in the NFL right now?
I know the Watts. You know, JJ's hurt right now.
Is there 3 of them?
It's 3 of them.
Okay.
JJ's hurt, but it's still 3 of them. Man.
Okay.
But I think it's just us 3. Us two
okay.
sets. Yeah.
Two families that got 3 kids in the NFL
Absolutely.
playing at the same time. That got to be cool for your parents, man.
Absolutely.
How does something like that happen other than talent? You know, obviously you guys got to have some special, gifts to have the opportunity to do that, but it ain't just that.
Absolutely.
What is it that maybe you guys have, as a family that's special, or something you guys have done that people don't maybe necessarily see?
Absolutely. Man, that's a loaded question. That's a loaded question for sure. But the condensed version, man, is blessings. Blessings, prayers, a little bit of luck, and everything else. You know what I mean? I think a lot of things have to go right, to be in the position in which we are right now. You know what I mean? And I think what separates us then the next set of 3 brothers is just a little bit of all of that stuff. It's like pouring in a cup, all the different ingredients. You know what I mean? But, man, we just had it all work out for us, and it all worked out at the right time.
How much do you think your faith has played a role?
A huge part. My parents are grounded. They taught us how to be grounded, man. And, times where we may stray away or where we aren't, as direct on our faith, you could just see a difference. You could feel a difference. Things just start to not working out how they used to be. You know what I mean? So, having that faith, man, having that anchor, you know what I mean? That time alone where you could just really talk to him and really just strengthen that relationship with the man above. You know what I mean? Man, that speaks wonders. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that.
Love it. So we got Trey and Terrell are with the Steelers.
Yes, sir.
And then you have another brother that's playing with the Buffalo Bills.
Tremaine, yes, sir.
Tremaine.
Yes,
I haven't
sir.
met him yet.
Nah, you have. You got to, though.
But 2 out of 3 so far, man. Just great young men.
Absolutely.
Great people. What would you say you've had to give up, to play at the level that you guys have played at? Even at the collegiate level, you guys played at a high level at you guys were at Virginia Tech for a while.
Yes,
and then,
sir.
did you play somewhere else also?
Maryland. I played in Maryland for a year.
At Maryland.
Yes, sir.
So that's high level football. You've had to give some things up, I assume.
Absolutely.
Sacrifices and stuff like that. What things stick out to you, maybe childhood, high school, college, things that you had to give up to go up?
Time. We gave up a lot of time. We didn't have a typical childhood. You know what I mean? Like, you talk about it all the time, grinding. We grinded so much. Like, when we went on vacations, we grind. When it was summertime, we grind. Before school, we grind. Like, we used to work out. Our school started at, we would leave the house around like 7:35, 7:40. Our school started at 8:20. We would do workout at 6 a.m. at least 3 times a week. At least 3 times a week.
So in high school.
In high school.
So for the kids out there listening, you want to know
Absolutely.
what it takes.
Oh, yeah.
3 days a week. There's the small things, starting to separate yourself. Not a lot of young people voluntarily going to work out 3 days a week, 6 o'clock in the morning before school.
Right about that.
Making stuff like that happen. What other sacrifices?
Man, things like that. My father coached us in football. My mother was real hands-on. She ran a professional track and field, at Southern Illinois. My father obviously played football. He played at the University of Maryland and played 8 years in the league as well. You know what I mean?
Was he with the Dolphins?
Yeah, 5 years with the Dolphins.
I remember Terrell told me about this when we had him on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely, man. But just sacrifices, man. Sacrifices, times, friends. Man, like, after I remember, we would do a practice. We would do the regular practice with everyone else right after school, Everybody getting ready to go home, do their homework, do whatever they do at the house, eat, whatever. We would do a whole nother practice. My father would take us through a practice. Then when my mother got off work, she would come and take us through a whole nother practice.
2 athletes. Double trouble.
Man.
I love it.
It was times where we would just look at him. We were just like, nah, we don't want. But they asked us, when we were real young, my parents asked us, do you guys want this? Is this what you really want to do? They never forced it upon us. You know what I mean? They gave us the option, but we all said yes. And they said, okay, cool. This is what it's going to take. And,
So they knew what it took.
They knew exactly what it took.
All that extra.
Yes, sir.
All that
Yes, sir.
extra stuff
Yes,
before,
sir. Absolutely.
after. Not necessarily just what's going on in practice.
Oh, man. Before and after.
It's before and after that
was
extra
pivotal.
stuff that starts to separate people.
Before and after was pivotal. We sacrifice friends, man. We sacrifice.
What do you mean by that?
Out.
Sacrifice friends and hanging out.
Man, you know, just you in high school, you in middle school, you want to do the typical high school and middle school things, you know, but the path that we were chasing, those high school and middle school things weren't necessarily in our best interest. We wanted to hang out. We wanted to go to the parties. We wanted to, you know, walk around the mall, you know, do whatever. You know what I mean? We just wanted to be out there. We wanted to be on our own. We wanted to have a chance to grow up, have a chance to really like be in our community, you know what I mean, and get into whatever in our community. We wanted to do that because that's what our friends were doing at the time. But at the same time, you know, no salt being thrown on any of them, you know what I mean, because I still keep in contact with a lot of them. But our paths wasn't aligned. You know what I mean? Our paths were not aligned. You know, the vision that we had and the vision they had was just a little bit different. You know what I mean? And at the time, it was kind of hard to see. You know what I mean? Because we're young, we're thinking young-minded, we're not thinking long-term. But at the end of the day, our parents knew what was best. Other people that were in our corner knew what was best. And we had to separate ourselves. You know what I mean? And it definitely ended some of those friendships. But some of them, they were able to see, we were able to see. And we kind of, you know what I mean? They understood, we understood.
Most people don't.
Together.
It's hard to understand
exactly.
in that transition when you're going to another level and you got to separate a little bit. And it's tough. You know, it's tough.
It's tough, man.
Takes a lot of leadership traits and qualities to be able to walk that route, man. Because you start being called, you know, all different types of things. Sell out. He thinks he's better than everybody else because he can't come hang with us. Can't do this and can't do that.
All that stuff, man. You get called all that. You know what I mean? They want you to disown your neighborhood almost. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But we grew up in the same place. We're from the same place. We did the same things. Like, my street is your street. But now all of a sudden I'm different because I chose a different route. Just certain things,
What
man.
things, your brother also mentioned a lot of the impact your parents had on both of y'all. And I mean, just in a short period on this podcast, you brought it up a lot.
Absolutely.
What things have you grabbed from both of them that you could point to? Man, I really can point to these couple things from my mom.
Yeah.
These couple things from my dad. What stands out?
Man, my parents, man, they were super, super instrumental, you know, in our growth. You know what I mean? Even to this day, you know what I mean? They're on us all the time. But we need it. You know what I mean? Like, couple things that stick out, man, they taught us how to survive. You know what I mean? And I think that survival word kind of gets lost, especially in today's culture, because everybody's just out here doing whatever. People are growing up way faster than what we did back in the day, and I'm sure what you did when you were growing up. But man, they just taught us how to survive. You know, how to make it, how to like see trouble, but not find. You know what I mean? Like, identify what trouble is and know where it is, but not get around it. You know what I mean? Because you got to know what it is so you'll know what to stay away from. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like, all right, cool. Now I know it's there. Now I don't need to follow it. You know what I mean? They taught us, like, obviously what's right from wrong. You know what I mean? They taught us how to love. They taught us how to respect people. You know, they taught us how to grind. You know, my parents instilled that, waking up at 6 a.m., working after another practice day. They instilled all of that in us. You know what I mean? So now when we get to college, when we're in the league now, we're doing that same type of things. Like, we're doing extra workouts. After workout, we're staying in there doing extra stretching, after practice, catching balls, doing whatever. You know what I mean? But it's just a continuation of what they taught us growing up. You know what I mean? So, man, my parents taught us all of that stuff. You know, they taught us how to lead, you know, how to separate ourselves. You know, when things don't look right, exit, abort mission. You know what I mean? And that's just a few, man. Like, my parents are real instrumental, man. They've been there every step of the way. They never strayed away. They knew the odds that we were faced against, but they always showed us that they were in our corners. You know what I mean? So they showed us what support is. You know what I mean? And that's just a few.
Anyone outside of your mom and dad that you've maybe had as a mentor that you looked up to, that you've grabbed some things from?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think without saying anyone specific, I think all the women in my life. You know what I mean? I think what women bring to the table is so different than what men bring. I mean, you know, men, we handle things, we get things done, but at the end of the day, a woman is a rock. You know what I mean? Like, and not necessarily just in a family sense, but a rock in the sense of they get things done. Like, they really get things done because they have to. If a woman don't get it done, no one will. You know what I mean? Like, They show you how to provide. They show you how to work. They show you how to sacrifice. Like the women in my life, man, like just seeing them work multiple jobs, you know what I mean? Lose out on sleep, lose out on family time, make sure a meal is there on the table every single day, you know what I mean? Make sure the house is clean, make sure you have the proper supplies, and make sure your homework is done, just different things like that, man. Like they showed me, you know, I'm speaking on myself, they showed me what it's like, you know what I mean, to really, really, really sacrifice, you know what I mean? And they showed me what it's like to be faced with all these odds, but still defy them. You know what I mean? Yep. So, man, I definitely just want to give a huge shout out to all the women, you know what I mean, who are in my life and who are instrumental in my process then and now.
Love it.
Absolutely.
You know, rewinding back a little bit, we talked about, you know, needing to separate from friends, stuff like that. That's a question I get a lot. That's something that in our youth program we talk to people about a lot. What advice would you give to some young folks right now that are trying to go to the next level? You know, not most people ain't going to go play professional sports, but they're trying to make it in some aspect. And part of that making it causes separation that needs to happen.
Right.
What things would you say to the young folks, you know, listening out there that are maybe trying to do something that they need to separate from a crowd of friends? Not that they're bad, it's just you just got to separate for a minute. What advice would you give to those people?
Yeah, so first I would just say, you know, identify what you want to do, you know, what you want out of this life. Like what is your dreams? What is your aspirations? What is your purpose? You know what I mean? Identify that. And once you've identified that, then see who can align along with you to help you get to that. You know what I mean? Like who is an asset and not a liability? You know what I mean? You want to bring people along that can help you and assist you, not slow you down. You know what I mean? Like you want to bring people along that's going to bring nothing but, you know, joy, positive affirmation, all of that stuff to it, all just positive stuff. But anybody that's bringing anything negative, that's where you want to sit there and, okay, cool. Maybe I don't really know about him. We cool, but not in this sense. You know, I think that there's different lanes for different friends. You know what I mean? Like if you're trying to go somewhere, I'm not saying to disregard your party friend or disregard your friend that just want to hang out all the time or whatever, but you know, maybe he got to take a back seat for a while until you get to the point in which you at, and then you could reevaluate that. You know what I mean? But I definitely think that first you should identify where you want to go, identify what your purpose is, and then from that point, you need to sit there and really identify your friends one by one. All right, cool. Can they help me or can they not? Can they help me or can they not? Are they with me or are they not? You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, you have to make those conscious decisions on yourself because it's only going to affect you. You know what I mean? Like, and if they can't understand, were they really your friend in the first place? You know what I mean? Like we just said earlier, like everybody has to come to the same understanding. Like you guys all have to be on the same page. You know what I mean? And if one person is looking at you different, or if one person is saying, "Oh man, you changed," or "You doing this," or "You acting different," well, what was their intentions in the first place? And that's going to show you a lot. You know what I mean? And a lot of times we figure that out late, but if you can figure that out early, I think that's a huge life hack. Huge life hack.
Amen. Yeah, the point is not to abandon people or the root of who you are, but growth is change.
Growth is change.
If I don't change, nothing changes.
I'm telling you.
Right? And so part of that, man, you're acting different or you change with thank you. Because that's exactly what
the purpose.
That's the mission. That's what we're supposed to be
the
doing.
Purpose.
And that's a hard reality. That's hard for young people. It's hard for people in general to be able to take a stand and say, you know, I'm comfortable in my own skin. I know my heart.
That's it.
I know how I feel for people. I know what I would do for people.
That's it.
And I'm okay with if not everybody is understanding of
That's
that.
it.
What coaches, you know, playing sports all the way up, you know, it's hard to say, oh man, I had a favorite because so many coaches play such a role, you know, in your life. But maybe any couple coaches or anything stand out from some of your coaches, you know, that you can stand out and say, man, this is what I grabbed from these coaches, you know, that stand out to me.
For sure. Like I said, outside of my parents, because my parents did coach, especially my father, he was my head coach in high school. So outside of him, man, another football coach I had, late great Dennis Saunders. You know, we all called him Dino. Huge father figure, you know what I mean? Like, he instilled life in us. You know, I always respected the coach that could preach life as well as sports. You know what I mean? Because outside of the X's and O's or whatever sports you're doing, outside of that, man, it's a huge life out there. You know what I mean? And I want to be able to take the things I learned within the lines of scrimmage or within the field, whatever you're in. I want to be able to take that, you know, and apply it to everyday life. You know, I want to be able to apply teamwork to, you know, working, you know, outside of football, you know what I mean? Yep. So he was big on that, man. He was big on that. He took guys in as his own. You know what I mean? Like he picked guys up for practice. He took them home. He provided food for guys who didn't have it. You know what I mean? Like when it was game time, sometimes he would go and provide clothes and, you know, a nice shirt and tie for guys who didn't have it. You know what I mean? Because that was the reality of it. You know what I mean? At the high school I went to, it was just some guys who just didn't have it for whatever reasons. You know what I mean? But we had a lot of good father figures, man, who just happened to coach as well. You know what I mean? And I think that's what separated them. And like I said, he just passed not too long ago, but man, he was a real good, solid stand-up guy, you know, as well as a coach. And also in college, I had a coach named Mike London. You know, he coached at University of Virginia for a while, but I had the pleasure of having him at the University of Maryland. He was just another stand-up guy, man. Like the way he taught, he was real methodical. You know what I mean? Like he taught with principle, he taught with law, he taught with things that made you think. You know what I mean? Like he was real biblical, he was real spiritual, but also, man, he was real. You know what I mean? He knew what went on in the real world, but he also knew what you needed to know. You know what I mean? He was able to apply the Bible with the streets in a sense. You know what I mean? So I think anybody that's able to connect the two, man, they're special individuals.
Powerful.
Powerful,
No doubt.
for sure.
No doubt.
Powerful, for sure.
What qualities would you say make a good leader or captain? You know, if people are captains in the NFL or captains on a college team, what qualities have you saw in those people that would qualify them that you think makes them a great leader?
Yeah, a couple things stick out to me, man. One, the ability to listen. You know what I mean? I think one of the number one qualities of a leader is just being able to listen, you know, knowing that you don't always have the right answers and you're willing to listen to your team because you created a team in which you can trust. You know what I mean? A team in which, all right, cool, you guys understand my vision. So therefore, if you bring something, I know it has to be for the greater of the group. You know what I mean? So I think that's number one. Number two, the ability to be able to make hard decisions. I don't think everyone has that quality. You know, and that's just my personal opinion. I think the ability to make those tough decisions, you know, those decisions that could either make you or break you, I don't think everyone has that. And if someone does have that, man, they're a leader automatically. And just another one, man, just someone who's not scared to use their voice. You know what I mean? We all say the cliche saying, what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong, but who can really live out that principle on an everyday basis? You know what I mean? Who can teach that to others? You know, who can show that to the people that's trying to get along, trying to get aboard in what we're doing, the players or the people that you're teaching or the young kids or whoever, you know what I mean? Who can teach that just by what you do, just by your everyday actions? Like, who can really teach that? And I think those three things, man, are kind of what separates the leaders, you know, from everybody else, the Chiefs from the Indians. Yeah.
What have you grabbed from Coach Tomlin?
Yeah, man, I think he does all of those to a T. You know what I mean? He embodies all of those traits. You know what I mean? He understands how to relate, you know, and how to relate to grown men. I think that's another thing. You know, you have to be able to understand your audience and who you're trying to reach, you know, and he's dealing with a lot of grown men, a lot of egos, a lot of pride, you know what I mean? A lot of attitudes. So being able to navigate through all of that, but still have his voice be bigger than ours in a sense. You know what I mean? Like, I'm big dog, but I value you guys' opinion. I value you guys' time. I understand what you guys bring to the table. I'm not slouting anything you guys do. But at the same time, this is my ship. This is how I'm running it. You know what I mean? Yep. And I think that he does
that balance of being able to listen, man. Pull things from the team,
absolutely
be open.
Oh, man.
But when it comes time to have some authority or make a tough decision, he's not afraid to
do
make a tough decision.
Yes, sir.
But could connect well with people.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
What other things stand out? And anything about, you know, it's like, man, Ben's been quiet, you know, for a while, you know, here in Pittsburgh. Man, it really intrigues me because I think, I don't know if it's true, but I've been seeing it come up a lot, you know, right now. I'm saying about, you know, Ben this may be his last year, all that stuff. But regardless of that, you know, what things, you know, from a distance when you watch, you know, him, what things stand out about Big Ben?
Yeah, I think Big Ben is more of the type of leader that, you know, do as I do, not necessarily as I say. I've been in 4 years, you know what I mean? And Ben is vocal, but he's not the biggest vocal leader. Mm-hmm. Ben is more the guy that, all right, cool. I've been in it for a certain amount of years, a long time. I've won Super Bowls, you know what I mean? Like, I've been the face of this franchise, and this is how it's done. You guys watch me. You guys do as I do. Now, there are times where he will go in and insert himself, vocally, but more times out of none, Ben is just one of those guys where he just go out there and does it. You know what I mean? And once you've been around him and once you learned him, you're able to understand and you're able to see that, like, all right, cool. He's not one of those rah-rah guys. You know what I mean? Like, we have guys that's like that. Cam Hayward, for an example. TJ sometimes. But Ben is one of those guys that's just like, this is what a champion does. This is what a Super Bowl champion does. This is what a future Hall of Famer does. You know what I mean? This is what an MVP does. Like, so just follow suit, God.
I don't know TJ at all, but I know Cam somewhat. I've been around Cam a good amount, man, and he got a really good heart, man. Has a heart for people, cares about people.
He does, man. He does.
What is his leadership style? What does he bring to the team that causes people to want to follow?
Man, Cam brings that hardness. You know what I mean? Whenever you think of Pittsburgh Steelers, hard, smart, tough. You know what I mean? Cam brings that. And Cam's vocal. So him and Ben, I think, for them two to be, in my opinion, probably the biggest player leaders on our team. You know what I mean? They're opposites, but at the same time, they both feel what each other lacks, in a sense. You know what I mean? Or not necessarily lacks, but don't do. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Cam's going to tell it to you exactly how it is. If you need to pick it up, he's going to let you know. If you need to, whatever, he's going to let you know. Cam's vocal. Cam's the one that's going to break it down. Cam's the one that's going to be in your face. But it's all coming from a good place. You know what I mean? And like myself, like, man, I've been around it my whole life, so I'm used to that. Like, that's how
you respond well to that.
I have to, you know what I mean?
Well
I need
that.
Exactly. So I think Cam brings that to the team, man, and we need it, especially in times like this, man, because we're struggling. You know what I mean? So we need a couple more Cams to come on out and just be like, all right, guys, like, look, this is what it's got to be.
What separates, people that make it and don't make it? I guess we'll just use the NFL as an example. They say the NFL stands for not for long. To me, for you to be in the league 5 years, man, says a whole lot. I mean, I know some really good people that played at a real high level in college and didn't make it 5 years, didn't make it 3 years. I mean, that's a blessing. And the great thing about you, man, is whenever the day comes when you're not playing ball, you got a lot of juice, man. You got a lot of wisdom. You got a lot of energy. You got a lot to offer that you're going to help a lot of people out there. Whatever journey and whenever that journey comes, man, I would put my money on you as taking something to the next level and being super, super successful. But what does it take? What separates the people that you've seen make it and not make it? If you could kind of put it in a box for us of like, man, the people that ain't supposed to make it that do make it.
Yeah.
What stands out about those people?
Right. Well, I could tell you before I say what stands out, I could tell you what doesn't. You know what I mean? Talent, you could throw that out because everybody's talented. So that has nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? Like, it's cats that come in the league every single year. You know what I mean? That could play 10 years if it was strictly based off of talent. You know what I mean? Couple things, man. I think it takes understanding the business. You know what I mean? And that goes along with any business, but strictly for the NFL, man, just knowing how the NFL works and knowing, how you can fit in. I think a lot of guys come in and everybody wants to be the man. Everybody's not going to be the man. You know what I mean? Especially if you got the man that's already in your position. You have to be able to humble yourselves in a sense to where it's, all right, cool, I know my role. Now I got to perfect my role, you know what I mean, until it's time for me to elevate. Not saying that you should, think less of yourself it's not about that. You know what I mean? It's just about knowing where you sit, knowing where you stand right here, right there, you know what I mean, and knowing what you could do, you know what I mean, to bring something to the team. Because that's what the coaches are looking for. The upper management, they're looking for what each individual can bring to our team. You know what I mean? Like, Ben's our starting quarterback. If somebody else wants to come in and be the starting quarterback and they're pissed off that they can't be Ben and their players reflecting that, they're not going to last. Simple as that. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if it's Mike Vick. You know what I mean? And shout out to Mike Vick because that's my guy. You know what I mean? But I'm speaking about as far as like someone with that much talent. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't matter because it doesn't fit the system. It doesn't fit what's already working for us. You know what I mean? So you have to know your role and then you have to play it well. And then I think being able to control your emotions, control your ego, control your pride. You know what I mean?
Control your ego, pride, and emotions. That's a big one.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
And it's tough. It's tough, man, because we all got it. You wouldn't get here if you didn't have it.
Gotta have
it.
Gotta have some of it.
You gotta have some of it.
But how do you control it and balance it?
man, I think it takes time and patience. You know what I mean? It may even take failure. You know what I mean? I think with me, failing taught me a lot. Sitting on the sidelines, watching guys, watching cats do what I do. You know what I mean? Having the game taken away from me for short periods of time, that taught me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure different people catch on or grasp it at different times, man. But just being able to control those things, because, man, this game is just so, it's an emotional roller coaster.
No doubt.
It's highs,
As
it's
is
lows.
life.
Oh, man.
As is life. Man, you know what I tell I don't want to just say the young people, but man, I wish the older people would listen as well as the young people.
Right,
but man, the young people, sometimes they come and they're like, man, it's a sponge. Yeah. I always want to be that way. Man. I don't care if I'm 50, 60. I want cats to be like, man, this dude got a young spirit. I'll listen to somebody 25 if you got something to give me. Right. But something I try to teach on this is 51-49. So you look at something as 100%, and you need that ego. You know, you got to have a certain level of
you got to.
But 51-49. So 51% humility, 49% ego. The minute that you get that ego above the humility, whereas 51 ego, 49 humility is when things starts going south. You're not going to be as good of a teammate. You're not going to be as good of a leader, as a husband, as a father, as a friend, as a coach, as a whatever. As soon as that ego gets up here and them percentages, you know, get out of whack. But it can't be 90% humility and 10% ego. You got to be right at that line because you got to bring that dog out. You know, we ain't out here just trick or treating. You know what I'm saying? You got to bring a certain level of dog, but you got to balance it with that ego. I think that's tough, man. I think that's tough. Right, what things, you know, you've inspired me, man. I love your messages that you spit on some of your social media and stuff like that, and we'll get to some of that in a minute. But what do you like to teach on, talk on the most? Because you're always out there spitting fire. You're always spitting. So I didn't know you had that in you when I first met you, but we got a lot in common. I wish I had the guns and the size in common, dog. You got better hair than me and everything, bro. Man. But give me some of that juice, man. What do you feel most passionate to talk about? You know, if you had to put yourself in a zone of like, man, these are the principles that I feel like, if you want my heart to come out, these are the key things that I would try to give to somebody that I'm most passionate about talking about, that it requires to make it in anything. What would that be?
Man, as a whole, man, I think it's just my story. You know what I mean? Like, I think my story is so unique, you know, just my journey on getting here. And then my journey once I've gotten here to this point I'm at right now. You know what I mean? Like, I've experienced it all, man. You know what I mean? Being all the way on top to being all the way at the bottom. You know what I mean? And then kind of balance it back out in the middle. But like, just being through all of that, man, and seeing all of that, being on the roster 1 year, on the practice squad 1 year, injury reserve 1 year, man, just experiencing all of that, you know what I mean? And still dealing with everything else going on around me, you know what I mean? And then having two younger brothers come in and just hit the scene, explode the scene, you know, and kind of taking a back seat to that, but still, you know what I mean, wanting to perfect my craft, wanting to be out there, wanting to do my thing, but also, man, knowing like, all right, cool, like, all right, this is what it's going to take, this is what I got to do, you know, but at the same time, like, cheering them on and, just giving them all the energy I got, giving them everything I got. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say I taught them everything because I didn't, you know what I mean? But my whole goal, man, was just to be an example for them. You know, so I guess what I'm most passionate about, man, is telling my story. You know, I think that there's a lot of small lessons, you know, in the retrospect of me telling my story.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Give me a couple of them.
Tenacity, man, resilience. You know what I mean? Like, in college, I played 1 full year. Out of 5 years, I played 1 full year of ball in college. You know what I mean? I wasn't supposed to make it. My very first surgery I had 2013. Doctor told me there's a 50% chance that I can come back and play football.
What was the surgery?
Tibia, fibula, and torn ligaments in my ankle. All happened. It was the day after Thanksgiving. Day after Thanksgiving, it happened. Doctor told me 50% chance. I asked him what was my alternative. He said not play ball. I said let's do the surgery. I was out, man. I probably was out, man, about 18 months. Almost 2
See, there it
years.
is right there. There's the thing. So somebody say, oh, man, I'd love to be on the Steelers roster. I'd love to be 5 years in the NFL. That's where people hang them up.
That's it. That's it.
Right there. I ain't doing 18 months.
That's it.
With no guarantee.
That's it.
And I've been through some of this already and stuff. These are the separators.
Yeah.
Keep going, man.
Yeah, man. Man, I always ask, anytime somebody asks me something, or anytime I'm faced with some type of opposition, man, I'm always asking, what's the alternative? What else is there? You know, if I don't do it, then what? Go back to what I'm used to? You know what I mean? Go back to what I was doing before I got here? Now that's easy. If I fail, I can go back to that. You know what I mean? So I'm taking my chances every single time. You know what I mean? And just kind of doing that, whether I failed or succeeded at, but just doing that, it kind of just built up this very, very tough exterior on the outside. You know what I mean? To whereas really nothing phases me. You know what I mean? Not in the sense where I'm emotionally numb, but in a sense to whereas I can handle it. You know what I mean? I know how to handle it. I know how to accept it. But at the same time, it's like, all right, cool. Now that I've experienced those emotions.
So you've learned to handle your emotions
that
come with setback, obstacle,
life.
Failure, life.
Yes, sir.
So is life. So many tap out,
man,
during those periods and tap out into comfort.
Right.
Because, man, this is bad. I was dealt a bad hand. This happened. This is messed up. And then man, I'm hurting. I'm upset. I'm pissed. Yeah, whatever. Retreat.
Exactly.
And you've learned how to
exactly
find a way out of that. And so what I'm hearing is you're one of your things in your mindset is thinking of what's the alternative.
Yeah.
So if I stop, what does that give me?
What does that
and if
give
I
me?
keep going, what does that give me?
I look at it.
And the only way I'm stopping is if somehow I rode it till the wheels fall off, and then I'll take the alternative because I went all in.
Because I have no other choice.
But it ain't gonna be because I quit.
I'm never gonna quit. I'm never gonna quit. You know what I mean? And I told my parents, you know, every year they ask me like, yo, like, how you feeling? You know, where your mind? I'm good. Like, I'm good. You know, like, I've gotten to a point where, yeah, things aren't working out the way I want them to. But at the same time, like, I'm seeing different. You know what I mean? Like, not saying that they don't still believe me, because I know they do. They support me 100%. You know what I mean? I know they know that I still got things left in the tank. You know what I mean? But, man, I just look at it as, all right, cool. I'm just setting my life up, man. I'm setting my life up. I'm being real methodical right now. I'm playing chess in a sense. You know what I mean? I don't even know how to play chess that good.
Yeah, me neither, dog.
You know what I mean?
But the concept of it, I get it.
The concept, you know, and it's just like, man, like, no matter what we go through in this life, young, old, middle age, it doesn't matter. Like, we have to have this resilient attitude to whereas, man, we can't quit, because in life we're going to face things that's 10 times harder. You know what I mean? Like,
amen. Forget
a football. Like, football, that's minor. You know what I mean? That's only a portion of what I do. That's only a portion. It's not even who I am. I just do. I play football. I just happen to be decent at football. You know what I mean? But the lessons and the laws and, man, the stuff that I've learned, you know what I mean, with playing football and having football taken away and watching football and learning football, man, it speaks wonders, you know. So when I talk to people, when I have conversations with people, when I do my talks on Instagram and Facebook, like, man, I'm just telling people the stuff I've learned through playing football. Mm-hmm. You know, football is just what's going to attract them, mm-hmm. because they want to hear from an NFL guy, you know what I mean? But I'm just like any other guy giving their message, but I'm not afraid to do it. You know what I mean? And you guys think that I'm this huge hero because in front of my title is NFL player, but we're the same person. You could do the same exact thing I'm doing. What's stopping you? Simple as that.
I love it. You know, something that stuck out when you were saying that is recently I've been reading a ton. I always read a lot.
Yeah.
And I heard a quote said that, man, during times like these, mm-hmm. remember there's always been times like these.
Man.
Whew. We already been through it. We've been through a lot, and we ain't the first one to ever go through it. Somebody else broke a leg and made it. Somebody else been dealt this hand and made it. Mm-hmm. Some single mom out there is hustling, working 2 jobs, handling 2-3 kids, and finding a way to get it done. What's really our excuse? I remember asking one of my biggest influences in my life and mentor, Jim Tressel, who is the one that connected me with Ryan first and Cam, and that's how that relationship started. And I remember asking him about how he handled adversity, and he's like, man, adversity compares to what? You know, when you think of, like, you know, I pointed out a couple of his adversities that were on the public scene, and he's like, adversity compares to the kid that don't know how he's gonna eat tomorrow. It's not adversity. Man, you know, I've been doing this for so long. I got money in the bank, and you know, I got this. So I've accomplished these things. So my adversity, how I've learned to handle some of these adversities is to put it in perspective and really who got it worse. And it really is not a real adversity when you look at the grand scheme of things of people would be dreaming to be in some of these shoes, man. So I think that's a powerful message, man.
It is. That's good.
How would somebody go about, and I want you to talk a little bit about, you guys have charity that you guys do. Tell us a little bit about the charity. Is it E-Boys?
My Brother's Keeper.
My Brother's Keeper.
My Brother's Keeper. Yeah, E-Boys is the brand.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And what's My Brother's Keeper?
Yeah. So My Brother's Keeper, we started that in 2018. You know, after my brothers got drafted, it's basically geared towards, man, anything and everything dealing with the youth. You know, that's kind of a quick summary. Like, we do it all. You know what I mean? In Danville, Virginia, our hometown. You know, in Blacksburg, where Virginia Tech is. We've done stuff in Pittsburgh here and in Buffalo. You know what I mean? Whether that's, food drives, we do holiday gifts exchange. We do holiday shopping sprees. We put on a talent show one time back at the house. Man, we do so much. We did Save the Suit. We donated I think it was 200 suits to kids. And we provided a ceremony where they got to bring their families. It was a dinner, nice, everybody dressed up, and they just got to walk across. You know what I mean? Some of them never seen a suit before, ever.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And
right.
like you just said, man, put it into perspective. You know what I mean? Like, I got suits. I've always had suits. You know what I mean? But some of these cats, man, just the joy on their face, when they seen a suit, just being in front of them, teaching them how to tie a tie. You know what I mean? Just simple and small things like that, man. We just don't know that. Those type of things, man, can shape a kid's life. It can save a kid's life. You know what I mean? My mother teaches in the inner city in Danville, Virginia. You know what I mean? So she encounters this on a daily basis. She loves it. She will not let us tell her to quit her job. She will not. You know what I mean? She goes to work every single day. She'll come to a game on Sunday night, clock in to work on Monday. You
wow,
know what I mean?
That grind.
I have no
At the Sunday night game,
grind.
she's going right to work on Monday.
Man,
there's the little stuff right there, man.
You know what I mean? Because she think that, her being there, just her presence alone, her conversations with these kids, man, she firmly believes in her heart, and I do too, that, she has some type of influence, on maybe just one of the decisions that those kids can make. You know what I mean? My parents have done foster care. They've had over 29 kids, almost 30 kids, you know what I mean, since I was in middle school, I think. Yeah, since I was in middle school, you know what I mean? So just them, we and this was before we even made it through high school, this was before any of that, you know what I mean? All right, cool, we got them past the primary stage of life, and now we want to lend a hand out, reach back, and bring others.
Ready to go back at it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they believed in their blueprint so much that, all right, cool, this is the plan. We know it works. You know what I mean? Even if me, Terrell, and Tremaine don't think, we know it works. We're going to bring somebody else on. We're going to bring somebody else. Has it all been successful? Absolutely not. You know what I mean? It's rare that you're going to find 100% success rate in anything.
Come on.
It's very rare. You know what I mean? But in a sense, if you could save one person's life, if you could keep 2 people from out of jail, if you can get 1 person to college, that's a win.
Amen.
That's a win, and we're going to take every single win.
Amen. How would people go about following you, man? Because there's so much that people can learn. Parents out there that are looking for somebody to look up to. This is somebody that definitely would be a good person to be a role model and somebody to look up to. How would people go about following you?
Yeah. Man, I'm real active on the social medias, you know what I mean? So you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. All you do is type in my name. Type in Trey Edmunds.
Trey.
Edmunds. You know what I mean? Type that in, and everything will show up. And man, I try to respond to as many DMs as I can. You know what I mean? So whether it's kids coming up, whether it's parents, whoever it is, you know what I mean? I try to respond to as many as I can. So if I don't respond the first time, man, shoot me a follow, DM or anything, or message or comment, whatever, and I'll try to get back to you. I promise I will.
Man, shout out to the Edmunds family, man, and the Edmunds in the Edmunds stock, man. The more I hear about your parents, the more I can't wait to meet them. But I've seen the product. They say you could tell what kind of tree it is by the fruit that it bears, and I've seen the fruit that your parents have bared, man. I'm an Edmunds fan, regardless of what jersey. You know I'm a Browns fan, so it don't matter about the team. I'm an Edmunds fan on and off the field, man, because of your heart and the way that y'all roll and treat people. And I appreciate you coming all the way out here to be with us on the GRINDcast. So Thanks for joining us, and thanks to everybody for listening to another episode of GRINDcast. Get ready, it's a new day.
Count money, man. Stack riches. Try and told him I'm a beast, bud.
So thanks for joining us again on another episode of the GRINDcast. If you're looking for extra help, extra mentorship, or you know somebody that does, just this past year, my partner Marcus Smith and I, who was the guy that started me into business, called my resume and was one of my first mentors. My partner Marcus and I opened up Cash Money Mentoring, something that would provide an affordable way, for people at all different walks of life, different businesses, different stages of their life and career, for us to be able to in-person live mentor folks and help them. I got so many messages on Instagram and social media, so many people asking for time, and I hated that I had to say no, that we found a way to say yes. And so every month we're spending a few hours with people. So head over to cashmoneymentoring.com. Maybe look at it as a Christmas gift, because we know Christmas is coming up. And thank you, as always. Thank you for the time that you've invested with us, and let's get it.